Today's episode of Last Podcast on the Left is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the easiest way to create a beautiful website, blog, or online store for you and your ideas. Squarespace features an elegant interface, beautiful templates, and incredible 24/7 customer support. So try Squarespace at squarespace.com and enter the offer code LAST, that is LAST, at checkout to get 10% off. Squarespace, build a beautiful, and now, on with the show.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the Last Podcast
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Hello. Oh, Henry, you're my favourite friend, and I just want to say that you're absolutely the bee's knees.
And I'd be like, Benjamin, flattery will get you everywhere. And then we eat bonbons alone in a Parisian park.
Heaven is a place on earth. Holy Christ. And it's in the imagination of Henry Zabrowski. Welcome to the Last Podcast on the Left, everyone. I'm Ben Kissel. Marcus Parks is here as well.
Yeah.
And all the way from beautiful Toronto, he's off set.
My name is Henrique Zabrowski, and I have to say, nothing in the world would please me more if Ben was maybe I shouldn't do this.
You should.
On the podcast
Yes,
at
do
the
it.
very beginning.
Let's do it.
Ben, I want to go steady with you. I want you to be my girlfriend.
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Trapped you, you're gay!
God damn it, man. I thought you were a woman. All right.
Actually, I would love it if we could find love like that with each other.
One day we will, Henry, and you're going to be real taken care of. Dulce, New Mexico.
Oh, now, okay, so we are covering, again, so we're back to aliens.
Yeah. Oh, it's been so long.
I'm so excited. And so I said to Marcus, we were originally going to do a topic called the aliens and the connections to religious iconography and Christianity, right? And we were like, this is boring, blah, 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 blah. And so what I said was just like, so this week we'll go out to the Dulce Air Force Base, which is going to be a very interesting episode about a highly secret base that is 90 miles underground, that the human and aliens hang out and they do genetic experiments with each other.
And they're playing cards like they're in some bizarre county jail.
Yes.
Yeah, always
Oh,
having fun.
no, Ben. They are not allowed to fraternize off hours, but we'll cover that later.
Exactly. They have to follow specific rules to comparing, depending on which alien you're hanging out with.
Like such specific rules, it might all be made up.
Such specific rules that you know it's true.
Definitely
Oh, I
for real
see.
that it's true.
I see.
But what ended up happening was, cut to me saying, me and Marcus having a friendly conversation, we'll cover Dulce Air Force Base. Cut to me 2 days later, in a jizzy haze.
That's a gin fizzy?
Yes. I got highly drunk, and I went down some rabbit holes. And I believe, because of the rabbit holes I went down, that Marcus and I are being tracked by the government. I believe it. We've been on the phone now. We've talked about 6 hours together about this, and because we talk about the secret government, and there's a lot of shit we're gonna bring up on this episode that is very real,
Very
and
real.
pertinent. Alphabet is happening, right? I'm not gonna even talk about Alphabet. Google turned into Alphabet. Do you have any idea how fucking fishy it is? We're done. All right, and the government is listening, and they're tapping into our conversations. I want to say, come and get me, 1093 Jackson Avenue. I'm here all the time. My name is Marcus Parks.
That's right.
Come and get me.
Try the burritos while you're here. The thing that you guys are discussing and researching, it's so confidential, you can find it on the internet. So it's difficult to get to.
It is actually very interesting that when we were on the phone, because we talk about plenty of things on the phone when we're planning out episodes. Henry Lee Lucas, there were quite a few conversations had about that one over that fucking weird month. But when we were talking about Dulce Air Force Base, we heard every single time we talked about it. Yeah, a real weird noise.
Yes, and it would happen, right? And legitimately, we would start talking about aliens, start talking about, because we the one time it happened, we were talking about the many secret entrances to the Dulce Air Force Base. Also possibly Dulce Air Force Base. I don't want to correct my own spelling.
Well,
I don't know.
People are saying Dulce, but come on, Dulce sounds so much fucking cooler.
Dulce sounds like a dessert.
It is.
Ooh, and I love it.
But then also talking about when we were doing the standard, the reason why it's easy to hide all this stuff in a super deep, dark underground cave. And number one, it's underground and it's super secret, and so anything there is going to be super secret, right? And we heard the noise again when we started talking about the fact that the government loves the fact that there are these alien rumors connected to these underground bases that are obviously being used. They're underground. They're miles underground. So obviously something very secret is happening inside these underground bases. There is evidence for them all over the world. The government does not specifically say they exist, right? Area 51, they're like, yeah, okay, but they say it's just like a hangar and like an airstrip.
Now, if you come into this room, this is where we store all the farts of New Jersey. Yes, it's very top secret. It's biological weapons.
This right here is Vintage Christie.
Yeah.
Chris Christie, you can say,
Now, this is the fart that made him governor. Yes.
You know what I gotta say? You know, this whole museum, I'm just like on the verge of throwing up. Yeah. The whole time I'm in here.
Yeah.
But either way, you know, welcome to Area 51. There's also an alien over there. He's from Saturn.
That's great.
Hi, hello. I made a new type of Oreo that is green.
Oh! Right.
That's what you're working on?
Yeah, for the Christmas season.
I did not receive my invoice.
Robot alien.
So we heard the noise again about, because we were saying the government loves rumors about the fact that all this alien activity happens in these underground bases. But again, if they were going to happen somewhere, they would happen there, right? Which is the paradox. So what do you do about that?
To be honest, I mean, to be fair to the NSA and to the government, the original
Be fair
podcast,
to them.
I'm going to be fair. The original podcast is just hacking into people's phone conversations. Yeah. So they were just skipping the middleman. They didn't want to go through iTunes. They said, why don't we just get Marcus and Henry on the phone? Oh, they're online right now. We got 5 hours of a free podcast.
And then also, but then you heard the noise again once we started talking about relationships and shit like that.
Yeah. Once we started talking about like personal things, it just went click off.
Well, you know who that was. Who? Delilah. That's where Delilah gets her scoops on personal love affairs and relationships and how to make them better.
All right, do we want to open the chapter in the Dolce Air Force Base's tale?
Yeah, let's open it up. Dolce Air Force Base. Well, it's not an Air Force base, because there are a lot of times when I'm saying Dolce, like you have that sort of instinct to say Air Force Base, but it's just simply a base.
That's right, because not only is it multi-purpose, there's Army and Navy and Air Force things being developed there, but also it's intergalactic, so there is a bunch of shit going on.
New Mexico, though.
Yeah.
Out of all the places.
You know why? Dry heat.
Yeah.
It's a dry heat.
God,
they say that the aliens, no, but there actually is a reason why it's in New Mexico.
More than one reason.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the big reasons is that New Mexico, specifically, like you have New Mexico and Colorado and all of these western states, one of the reasons why a lot of these bases are located in this area is because of the Continental Divide.
Absolutely. And also natural caverns that are already there. Like you would literally look at Dolce, Dolce, New Mexico is located right in the Colorado-New Mexico border. It's a quaint town with a population just under 3,000. I'm doing this for Marcus, and I can see the look on his face. And the tribal headquarters of the Jicaria Apache Reservation. It's also a alleged location of a secret underground base. Basically, what we have here is there's also natural caverns, right, out deep in the middle of the desert. They say they compare it to like Carlsbad and stuff like that. And so they use these natural, already holes in the earth and build bases inside them. But also, the mineral content of the rocks are great for who?
Reptilians, my friend.
So if you're like an Apache and you're here in New Mexico, you would be like, oh, they're coming to do a story. They're talking about in New Mexico. Certainly they're going to mention the genocide of our people.
Oh, no.
Oh, what's that? Oh, no, they've made up a story about aliens underground.
They said that sometimes a tall gray man comes and fingers the butthole of some of their sci-fi writers. But I will say my whole family was burned alive, so and that is real. I don't mean to. I mean, yes, also my grandfather was a wolf spirit, but that's real in a different way.
Right. Well, I love maize.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of that.
We call it corn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've stopped calling it maize.
I was trying to be part of your people.
Well, they actually do use the American Indians around the area. The government does use them as a cover. They say that a lot of the natural lakes and the huge dam that is built nearby, they say that it is for the local Native Americans, the local Apache tribes, because Dulce itself is actually almost 100% Native American in population. But in reality, that dam is what powers Dulce Air Force Base. Or, not, excuse me, Dulce Base.
And that's at the Archuleta Mesa, which you're going to learn a lot about, which is either just a cavern that is adjacent to the Dulce Base, or it is a deeply historic million-year-old gray/reptilian underground bunker that's been there since Nyon, when the Anunnaki came, and they created the Alphas Artus, and then also split into them and the Greys. The Greys are their servant people, mated with Sapien. This is a part of the research. You can't, literally, when Marcus and I started researching the base, I was just like, technically, we need to start 1 million years ago on Mars.
I think somebody's listening in. Yes, Patrick, we got a nerd alert. We got a nerd alert here in New York City. Yep, talking about Dulce again. Yep, yeah, just wanted to give you the heads up. We got a nerd alert.
Well, Henry, you mentioned also the minerals underground, what those minerals actually are, and why the Continental Divide is so important is that these areas very magnetic. Magnetics are extremely important to these people. That's what's called substrata rock, and there's also a lot of high energy states, plasma, in these continental divides.
I don't even know if that's true. So I do like the one breakdown. So again, the Dulce Base is believed to be the largest reptilian and gray alien base in America, where they are allegedly conducting experiments including atomic manipulation, cloning, mind control, animal/human crossbreeding. We're getting man pigs.
Oh, I can't wait to eat a man pig.
Chip implantation, abduction, and feeding off of humans.
Ooh, like that grandmother from the UK. Granny Ripper.
Oh no, that's a Russian woman.
Was that a Russian?
Yeah. Her, you know her number one hero?
Who?
Andre Chikatilo.
Yeah.
And look at that. LeBron James really idolized Michael Jordan. They're both very good.
Yeah. My favorite person is Charles Chaplin, because he invented physical humor.
He did. He became a star very quickly. I just watched a documentary about him.
Oh.
One of the first to deal with the paparazzi.
Love Charlie Chaplin.
Who gives a shit?
Oh, that's right. Back to the reptilians.
Yes, so you're asking yourself, how are these things built?
Because it seems like they'd be impossible. Because they're massive. They're very, very, they're miles big, and they're up to 4 miles underground.
Yeah, and these things are gigantic. Of course, there are natural caverns, but if you've ever been to Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico, you know it's beautiful, but it's a fucking mess. You're not going to be able to actually build any sort of scientific research station there.
But what about dynamite?
Can you make dynamite there?
You just blow up a bunch of fucking shit there, and you just make a big hole.
Oh,
that's what they call building houses. Yeah.
Absolutely not. What you actually have here. Okay, let's come back a little bit. 1947.
You tell me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about 1 million years ago on Mars? Because the Anunnaki were a part of it on Sirius, and they came to Mars, and then an asteroid fucking disaster happened and sent them to Earth. That was 1 million years ago.
Right, and women have 3 boobs on Mars. Yeah. They do. I saw it in a movie.
I like it getting the third one in there because the first 2 always get so withered up when I'm done with them.
Mm-hmm. She's just got to find a man with 2 dicks.
He exists.
Oh, yeah.
No. 1947. Not 1 million years ago, 1947. In that year, a road was built near the Dulce Base under the cover of a lumber company. But no lumber was ever hauled, and the road was later destroyed.
I remember because the local people, the Native Americans, were watching it and like legitimately just being like, oh, they built a fake road that kind of went underground, huh? And they're just bringing big old... Because that's what they said, is that they never saw lumber. All they saw was big pieces of machinery go deep into the ground.
Yeah,
and they're just watching around and just being like, white man's doing something.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I don't know if anybody else like nervous or something, but running order, I think maybe we should just start... I know we've been flirting for a long time, but I think we should just kind of start fucking because some shit's about to go down.
Yeah, it looks like they're building an alien base or a bad lumber company. Aren't there a lot of trees in New Mexico?
God, no.
Yeah,
well,
that's
I
what
mean,
I'm thinking.
in the
So-
mountains, like around like the Taos area, and where
Right.
I just where I just visited, up in the mountains of New Mexico, the Sierra Nevada mountains, there are a shit ton of trees. It's very much a very
Right.
treed area.
But it wouldn't seem like the perfect place for a lumber company, right? Not a great lumber place.
No. But we're going to see that all again and again and again in this story, which is the conspiracy part of it that I'm going to try to refrain from speaking about the cover corporations that are used to hide all of this stuff.
Oh, yeah. And they didn't even really try that hard. All of the trucks, all they said on the side is just said Smith Lumber.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so so basically they just sent all the machinery down. They dug a big hole, and then what happened?
Oh, they dug the big hole. Well, we have to go to the September 1983 issue of Omni Magazine, page
Always.
80. Page 80.
And I have that open up. You know how some people have a Bible stand with a thing? It's like I have that issue of that magazine opened up on my little Bible stand inside of my bedroom.
Yeah.
Very popular magazine.
Well, that has a color drawing of the subterrane. And this is very true. Omni Magazine is a legitimate source. I had a subscription when I was a child, and I believed everything they said.
But you also had a subscription to Weekly World News and Texas Butts.
And you also played with bones all the time,
Right.
and your parents were just being like, "That's another boy. He's not. We didn't make him."
Sometimes when Marcus uses himself as a reference point to make it real, it falls apart.
So, this is actually a fairly real thing. The Los Alamos nuclear-powered tunnel machine called the Subterrane. It burrows through rock deep underground by heating whatever stone it encounters into molten rock, which cools after the subterrane has moved on, and the result is a tunnel with a very smooth, glazing lining.
And it's very interesting. They are nuclear powered and they are highly top secret. The government does not want us to know that it has these drills for some reason, right? Because we're going to learn these underground. If you should watch this documentary called The Underground. I'm going to put it up on the Facebook page. And there's another book by a guy named Richard Sonder called The Underground. Now, the idea is that there is an international sort of conspiracy about building these massive underground bases that they are highly protective of. They don't want anybody to know. And there's companies like, if you want to look up KTEL, or if you want to look up Bechtel, K-Wet, Black and Vetch, the company Robbins, right? It's a tunnel building, it's a technology firm, right? That builds tunnel building stuff, right? These are these gigantic international corporations that are housing the money for these black ops stuff. They're hiding because it seems like this tunnel thing would just be kind of interesting. It's a drill thing. It's a drill machine. Why do they not want us to know about the drill machine? Because they're using it. If you follow the money off of these subterranes, you're going to see we're using them here, and we're using them in the Swiss Alps, and we're using them in China, and we're using them in Saudi Arabia. Like they legitimately, the underground talks about like an underground gigantic structure that was built before Gulf War I that Norman Schwarzkopf used. So they had already planned
as a personal bathroom.
Yes, but they had
Norman
already
Schwarzkopf.
planned to be there.
Yeah.
It's we've been
people-
bought and sold.
People laughed when Mr. K. Wet wanted to start a lube company, and they said, "What are you going to do?" And he's like, "I'm going to make all the money." And then he did make all the money, and now he's into nuclear.
Yeah.
So think about this. All right, so
building.
Site R, Area 51, the underground fortress and the NSA underneath Fort Meade. You listening? Come get me. Los Alamos and Camp David has a gigantic underground structure.
Yeah,
I would
and
say if the NSA is listening to this, it is a podcast, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you very
At this
much.
point,
Please,
Yeah.
I hope you're spreading around. We got T-shirts for sale. It's $25 on the website. If you go to cavecomedyradio.com.
/merch. So these guys, there are a lot of, as Henry said, a lot of different corporations, and some say that some of these companies, like Bechtel is actually an international corporate octopus that is really the shadow government's working arm of the CIA.
Which is the truth.
And
I think it's absolutely, utterly the truth.
actually, that is very likely. Like, that right there is an actual, very likely conspiracy
But it's
theory.
this construction and engineering firm.
Yeah.
There's another company called URS, which is the same thing, and all of their websites have the same shit. It's two white dudes with hard hats going like laughing, like they're at lunch together, like saying, like, but it's like with very vague stuff, and it's all like everyone is just like making solutions that are solutions.
I love those solutions.
Like, our world will be your world. It's like stuff like very highly sinister. It's like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it really is. And there's another one, that the Rand Corporation,
Which is just highly just whatever they're just doing stuff. And that's because I did not like the tagline of that company called "Doing Stuff with Your Stuff."
I love that.
And then also making your stuff everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
This is the NWO.
Yeah,
That's what we're looking at.
Oh, it very much is. And on page 6, number 645 of Project Rand, Proceedings of the Deep Underground Construction Symposium.
Big book.
Had in March of 1959, it said, just as airplanes, ships, and automobiles have given man mastery of the surface of the earth, tunnel boring machines will give him access to the subterranean world.
Never. We will face the tyranny of the moles. How dare the moles have a monopoly of the underneath the ground? What about rabbits? You mean to tell me cute fuzzy rabbits were also a part of this war? Damn these rabbits!
Well, these underground tunnels that they're talking about, this subterranean world, Henry was talking about these bases being all over the world. All of them are connected by a gigantic series of underground tunnels that are electromagnetically powered. They can travel at speeds faster than the speed of light.
Using vacuum and magnet technology. But basically, what the idea of these super speed trains, they have that, but this is a super speed train. It's like the L train if it was full of reptilians and confused Native Americans.
Yes. The L train, one of the worst trains in New York.
Pretty bad. So the number of bases that are connected by these railways, almost unimaginable in scope as far as how many bases there are. And while we don't know exactly what all of them do, we do know at the very least of entrances to these underground facilities. Now, you mentioned the Native Americans. The Native Americans, a lot of these underground entrances actually have their roots in Native American folklore. A lot of them, like, for example, the Nahanni Valley in Canada, this area is inhabited only by animals because any person who enters the valley is usually found headless. And the Indian tribes avoid this valley at all costs, and the valley is actually referred to as the Valley of the Headless Men.
Rock and roll! The other thing, too, because what we're going to learn with using the alien side of this argument is that the reptilian people there are a number of indigenous reptilians and greys that have lived on the planet Earth for fucking a million years. And
you got to say like 850,000 years. That's like a million years. Everyone's like a million years.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing.
That's a number.
Oh, man, that's like a Bill Gates number. Whoa, we've been a whole million? No, because that's a problem, right? Reptilians are highly territorial and also highly aggressive. So this idea that they had these lands where, and again, this uses the idea that the government is using what is basically alien tunnel land, like they're using these naturally built tunnels that aliens have been living in for a long time in order to, and kind of putting their shit on top of it, kind of making it all local and easy access. And it's very interesting. I love the idea they called the sub-global travel section.
Yes.
And it has like ports and shit like that. It's a highly organized fake idea. And I love it.
Yeah, the sub-global system.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
And there are interests in South America where those the actual Indian or the old ancient Aztecs believed that it was the entrance to Mictlan, which was their version of the underworld. Just as the Greeks had Hades and Persephone, the Aztecs also had an extremely similar version of the underworld where it isn't necessarily heaven or hell. It's merely a place that you go to when you die that is ruled over by a king and queen.
Also, matches conspiracy thought of the movement of the Greys and the reptilians from South America to North America. So a part of the conspiracy angle of all this, that I'll cover for a half second, is that in 1933, our president and a number of members of the Illuminati met with the Greys. This is the same story we've heard for a long about Harry Truman and all those guys. And they made an agreement that you can come to the United States. We will give you an underground bunker. You can hang out under here. We'll build all this shit for you. You can take as many people as you want, but you have to give us your technology. And so the aliens had basically had a gigantic presence in South America, but then they discovered when they came to North America, all the natural magnets and minerals and plasma in our continental divide, like over there in the mountain ranges of the fucking Southwest, were perfect for their experiments magically.
Yeah. And it's really weird that they've been here for 1 million years and they're just now taking a trip up to America.
But they also don't talk to each other because the natives, the indigenous reptilians and Greys, don't talk to outlander reptilians and Greys because they think that they're better than them. And then also some of these guys, some of the reptilians are connected to the Archaeo-Palladian group, right? And they're good Greys, good reptilians.
The tall Greys.
The tall one. No, those are Draconians, which are the bad ones.
Those are the short Greys.
Yes, and that's a part of the Ashtarian group, which is the original group.
I think the NSA... Patrick, we have another nerd alert. Yeah, it's happening in Long Island City.
There's a lot of interpolitics.
Yeah, there's a lot of politics involved in the 12 planets that are currently fighting over Earth for its orgone energy. But
it must be.
Yeah, and these, and some of these have been around for a long time. There was one in Staffordshire, England, in the 1700s, where a farmer uncovered an iron hatch that he could not open. Then in Mount Shasta,
did a boy also pull a sword from a stone? What happened?
Then there's Mount Shasta, California, where they say that that is the entrance to the Lemurian city of Talos. More info on that can be found in the privately published book entitled Alien Magic, 249 North Bryan Boulevard, Suite 651, Glendale, California, 91203.
Self-published book means he got too close to the truth. Or he can't spell.
Yeah, could be either.
Yes. Also, Mount Shasta is right next to Mount Fago. You want to check it over there.
Right next to the fucking Fresca Valley.
Yeah. Love Fago, love a juggalo.
Then there's the Brown Mountain entrance.
I know Brown Mountain.
We don't
quite well.
We talked about that, the Henry Fountain.
Yeah, there's supposedly an isolated alien base there. And then there's have you heard of this, Henry? There's an entrance in Toronto.
I did not know this. I'm going to go check this out.
Yeah, it's off of Parliament Street in downtown Toronto. Apparently this little corner, there's an entrance between two apartment buildings and leads to the tunnels via the sewers. There's apparently a higher accident rate at this corner than anywhere else in Toronto. And it's said that is because there are electromagnetic experiences or experiments going on there that tend to, screw around with people's ability to drive.
Oh, yeah, that's why when I was on a date over there, I was with this girl and we walked past those cross streets and her pussy fell off.
It just fell right off?
I'm going to
drops out.
I'm going to go over there Monday. I'll do that on Monday.
Yeah, do it on Monday.
And I'm going to Periscope it, and you can follow me on Periscope at Dr. Fantasty at Periscope, and I will go down there. And if when I emerged out, if I don't emerge from the tunnel, herald me to my children.
All right. Wow, very interesting.
So while not all of these bases and entrances that we just discussed are gigantic complexes like Dulce Base, a lot of these have underground cities that are complete with streets, sidewalks, lakes, small electric cars, apartments, offices, and even shopping malls.
Isn't that kind of fun? So you can kind of they made a little New Jersey.
Well, and I will tell you the reason why that is true is because of a thing called the Todt organization, which was the Nazi German architectural firm that basically Hitler, we're going to go back and that's another whole other story. All of this underground tunneling shit came from Operation Paperclip. We took tunneling technology from the Nazis and brought it to America. This guy named Todt, I forget his first name, T-O-D-T.
T-O-D-T?
Yeah.
Death in German is Tod. T-O-D.
Well, there we go. Very interesting. Now we have new information.
Him and Xavier Dorsch were brought to the United States of America doing Operation Paperclip, and basically they took the plans for the Antarctica, like big, like ultra white, like living society plan, like that base that they were going to build. They saw those plans, and America was like, hot damn, this is the kind of juice we need over here in America.
Yep. They also had a great creamery called the Toten Dorsch Creamery, and if you ate it, you were eating the blood of a reptilian.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I
Didn't
gotta
know
tell
that?
you, it's the thickest, sweetest milk in all of Germany.
Vegan? This is vegan. It is.
No, it's quite absolutely not vegan.
I'm gonna say it's vegan.
I have to say, because it's definitely just, that's pure animal fat. You're drinking pure animal fat right there. And it's thick with cream. Can you not feel how thick the top of it is with the fluidly cream?
That's the real war the Germans launched on the United States citizens, and that's why we're so fat today.
Well, as far as the scope of Dulce itself goes, there are 1,700 paved miles of roads under Dulce in northern New Mexico. Towards Los Alamos is another 800 miles of tunnels. If you don't know Los Alamos is, and this is historically documented fact, the site of the Manhattan Project, which eventually was the birthplace of the atomic bomb.
have become death.
The destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to talk about I Am Become Death, Destroyer of the Worlds, because if you're a big fan of The Invisibles, as I am, you know that Dulce Base plays a huge part in the entire story. And Grant Morrison, he knows the truth. He sees through the veil, because Dulce Base is where the AIDS vaccine is kept. And not only is the AIDS vaccine kept there, but Robert Oppenheimer, when he detonated the first atomic bomb, he said, I am become
is
death, the
what
destroyer
I've
of
been
worlds.
saying.
And that was a spell to bring the Indian nuclear idiot god into the universe. And when the universe cracked at that moment, that is when God, the magic mirror, became trapped in his own creation, and the Archons captured it and brought it back to Dulce Base, where they did experiments on it.
This is a true, real comic book.
Yes.
It's like the best one ever written.
Everybody knows the AIDS vaccine is just when you go up and lick Magic Johnson. That's how you cure AIDS.
And the thing is that he will let you lick him for $500,000.
Oh, absolutely. He is the
He knows.
fountain of youth. Yes.
He knows.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is Dulce's purpose?
I think we're giving a lot of...
Unless you listen to Jolly Roger, when her band of merry lesbians were captured and turned into genetic freaks. Poor Bunny.
I have to read The Invisibles because we just get to look at you confused. Kiss and I are just
I have
looking
no
at
idea
you
what
There
like
are a lot of fans out there in Radio Land right now that are fucking going, fuck yeah, man, speak it.
And there's a lot of them just like, how do I turn it down?
I volume correct when I start yelling.
Oh, I see. Very
See,
good.
he's smart. He's smart. He's a good
Nailed it.
engineer.
The Invisibles. Check it out.
All right, so the Dulce Air Force Base's purpose.
Just a base. Have you learned nothing, Henry? There's no planes.
I'm sweating so hard.
Well,
You are.
sometimes there are alien aircraft.
Then it's
that
an Air
come-
Force base.
I suppose so.
All right, so we're back. We're back to where we are.
Yeah, centuries ago. Of course, this goes back a million years, but it also goes back centuries. Surface people, some say the Illuminati, entered into a pact with an alien nation that was hidden within the Earth.
And that's a part of Hollow Earth theory that we could also jump off on right now if you want me to, but we won't.
Well, we have a whole episode we'll do on that.
Yeah, Hollow Earth is an entire
This is the
episode.
problem, is that this entire episode, this entire subject involves, it's just like, we could have covered Majestic 12. We could have covered Nazis' involvement with aliens and with underground tunnel building.
And
we
poo-poo.
could and poo-poos. We could have done a lot of shit. And also the Illuminati's contract with the aliens, Greys, and Hollow Earth. There's a lot of shit in here.
Yeah.
You got a lot of fucking homework to do.
Well,
So after, as Henry said, in 1933, we entered into a pact with this alien nation, and a special group was formed to deal with these alien beings. And in the 1940s, the alien life forms, or ALF.
That's right.
Yeah. So yes, these people were created to deal with the alien races. Now, as I mentioned about Los Alamos just a little bit ago, Los Alamos and Dulce are connected through underground tube systems. And as U.S. Energy Secretary John Harrington, he named the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory and the Los Angeles National Laboratory to house the new advanced genetic research centers as part of a project to decipher the human genome. That is fact.
Which they consider to be the biggest discovery in all of science. There was a tremendous amount of importance put on the Los Alamos research facility.
You say human genome, that is a sort of a gnome who enjoys hip hop and things like that.
You are just the cutest little button.
I
want to say again, I want to put a wig on you, and I want to take you out. Yeah. I want to brag about you.
Hey, you can brag about me, and you can buy me a bunch of dinner, even if it is buffet food.
And so now, again, what's happening at Dolce is a part of obviously highly, highly secret, some sort of research project, and it seems to be involves aircraft and involves like possibly some sort of genetics and science.
Possibly, the genetics part is the most important thing.
But we know?
Yeah, we do because of a man named Thomas Castello.
Oh, Costello?
Yeah.
I'll trust a Costello as soon as he's serving me a fucking sub sandwich and he tells me it's not containing fecal matter.
I bet.
The thing about Thomas Costello, so what we now know, the secrets of Dolce Base were put out by a whistleblower named Thomas Costello. Who was a security officer for Dolce. And then there are a number of people that have reiterated the fact. There's a guy named Paul Benowitz that was a scientist for Dolce Air Force Base, and then Phil Schneider, who we're going to talk about next week, who was a part of the engineering firm that was building the addendum to the side of Dolce Air Force Base. And everything that we know, everything that's technically fake and silly about Dolce that we know, comes from these three people.
And they call Costello a whistleblower because they wouldn't give him a gun. They only gave him just blow the whistle if you see anything.
I see an alien. How come no one's coming to the whistle? Because I'm seeing a goddamn alien.
That's where the term comes from. Costello, too dumb for a gun. They gave him a whistle and he blew it.
So covertly, the Human Genome Research Project has been going on for many years before it became public knowledge. And by the way, we fucking did it, man. America mapped that fucking genome.
We went up, we grabbed that genome, we fucking pulled it out of its tent home, and we took its scalp off. That's what we did. We went over to that genome, and we took over its land and just took all the women and raped them until they were white.
Yep. What do scientists spike when they score? You know, I guess just a bunch of test tubes.
But then they're all full of infectious diseases.
God, we gotta stop celebrating so stupidly.
You make a joke, but it is very much an apt metaphor for my people's connection to nature and how your people severed it.
Somebody get this janitor out of here. We are a bunch of scientists, and we're about to take our fucking shirts off.
Holy Lord, yeah.
This is the gene that makes somebody blind. Let's fucking turn it on and a bunch of babies watch them go fucking blind.
Daredevil.
That is not too far off from what was going on at Dolce Labs. As far as genetic research goes, here is what Thomas Castello said about the genetic experiments in Dolce.
I have seen multi-legged humans that look like half human, half octopus. Also reptilian humans, rock and roll, and furry creatures that have hands like humans. They cry like a baby, and mimics human words. Also huge mixtures of lizard humans in cages. They're fish, seals, birds, and mice, and that's it. That can barely be considered those species. There are several cages and vats of winged humanoids, grotesque bat-like creatures about 3.5 feet to 7 feet tall. They were gargoyle-like beings and Draco reptoids. Cool. And also, there was a kitchen with a bunch of free snacks in it.
Yeah.
And that was cool as shit. There had all the Keurig machines and all sorts of chips and full candy bars. Not even the baby candy bars.
Wow.
Full ones.
It's always the best. I love the Halloween houses that hand out the full candy bars. How do you know it's a Draco? It's the one with the popped collar.
And so now, but Thomas Costello was sort of given free rein. According to him, he worked as a sort of liaison between the higher-ups and the aliens. He talked with them.
That was one of his three jobs. His title was security or senior security technician. His main job was to maintain, align, and calibrate video monitoring cameras, which means that he had Ultra 7 access, meaning that he had access to all 7 levels of the facility.
All quote-unquote 7 levels of the facility, because then also there was Umbra access that led to elevators that went to other floors that he doesn't even know if it existed or not.
So he just sat in a room and watched all the cameras like a shitty bar owner does now?
Yes.
Yeah, he just sits at home and be like, why is everybody leaning on the counters? He calls up the fucking bartender.
He's the AV squad / HR department of Star Trek.
I see. Okay.
That's what he was. So it's he, according to him, just hung out with a bunch of fucking aliens.
Yeah, a bunch of aliens. The 2 prevalent alien species in this facility were the Dracos, reptilian humanoids. Now, if I'm correct, the Dracos are indigenous, right?
They are both.
They're Native Americans. Native Americans
Stop
were
calling them reptiles.
Okay, I just want to make that clear.
The Dracos are just a race, right? Those are the gigantic leader reptilians, because there's 2 castes, right? There's the Dracos, and then there's a worker caste. Well, there's many castes, but these are the ones that we deal with on Earth. There are indigenous Dracos, and there are off-world Dracos.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a lot of indigenous Dracos, because these are guys that were left here. They're technically the direct descendants of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki themselves are supposed to be reptilian-like creatures. So they have been hanging out here for a long time in the inner Earth, right?
Yeah.
Like in one of the various tunnel systems of Earth.
And they have been using the Dulce installation for centuries before they brought the humans in on this deal.
Yes, and so they agreed to include the humans as a part of what we think is some sort of nefarious plot, because they're not really sure how to trust the Dracos. But the Dracos also have psychic abilities and can manipulate human thought.
Freddie, they're actually nerd alert's over. This is they're telling the truth. We got Long Island City, Creek of the Cave.
Airstrike.
Oh God! Here comes the man with
Abduct the fat one. Abduct that fat one. Abduct the fat one. Oh,
Which one's the fat one?
they're all sort of fat.
Well, that one's got a weird beer belly.
Yeah.
It's not a beer belly. It's a full tank for a sex machine. Thank God.
I want to fill it with eggs. Yes, Crash Tar, you'll be able to fill it with eggs. I'm a Crash Tar.
He's pretending like he's back in a Wisconsin bar. He just keeps on saying he wants more eggs and
Nothing
beer.
unusual here. Do not look at the man with the iguana face. Is your name Melinda? Your thick legs make me want to mate with you.
You bet. I go on with you. Absolutely. I gotta tell old Dan from the bowling alley that I'm gonna be busy then.
Man, what a hell of a job working in a bowling alley.
I bet it was great. All the people at all the bowling alleys I've ever been to just look fucking happy as peaches.
Dolce could have a nice bowling alley itself.
It really could, along with the shopping malls and the apartments.
But the problem is that you can't get certain aliens on different teams because of the various political alliances that each one serves.
And their fingers don't fit into the bowling ball structure of the three-fingered
Is
structure.
this an egg? I will sit on it until it hatches into the warrior caste.
No, Crash Tar. No. It doesn't.
We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsor. As I mentioned earlier, our sponsor today is Squarespace. You can start your free trial site today, and sites only start at $8 a month, and you get a free domain if you sign up for a full year. There's no credit card required, and when you decide to sign up for Squarespace, you can make sure to use the offer code LAST to get 10% off your first purchase. It's simple, it's easy, you get 24/7 online support, and you get it for only $8 a month, or a free domain if you buy Squarespace for a year. So go on out, start a trial with no credit card required, and start building your website today.
Well, actually, the reptilian leader that Thomas Costello had to deal with on a regular basis, his name, and this is how it's pronounced. Costello made sure to put pronunciation in his testimony. It's pronounced.
It's spelled KHAARSHFASHST.
I think he looks does he look just like John Travolta from Battlefield Earth?
Oh, no.
He doesn't look like a huge gay man. If that's what you mean.
Oh, I see. Okay, never mind.
So the Draco,
Klingon ripoff.
So again,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to get into the deep we can get very, very into the deep exopolitics of alien races. We've done before, and we're obviously doing again.
Yeah, exopolitics, real word.
Really is, because invented by Nick Gould. If you want to look up it's very interesting. And he talks about the pillars of worldview, and he wants to talk about how reality is generated by 7 case of humankind. We're going to talk. That's another episode.
Yeah.
So my blood pressure's up. I've had 4 coffees.
Yeah.
So the Dracos are split into 2 separate cases, ruling and working. The ruling case were normally they're white. Great. While the workers were of a darker color. That's racist.
A bit of racist. There is some racism in here.
Oh, of course there is. Yeah, there's any theory that was even had any of its roots before, I don't know, 1960 is going to have
racism.
All right.
And so the worker case does the daily chores. They mop the latex floors. They clean the cages, bringing food to the hungry people and other species. It is their job to formulate the proper mixture for the Type 1 and Type 2 beings that the Draco race has created.
Yeah, the winged humanoids, the octopus people, the weird mice that aren't quite mice.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, they're always like, hey guys, hey, I'm not a mouse. Guys, come on, let me out of here. I'm not a mouse.
Actually, I think
that mouse is reasoning with me. That's where you're wrong there, buddy. Because I'm not a mouse at all. I'm president of Malaysia. That's what I am. But we're looking at, according to Thomas Costello, the Dracos were at the top of the food chain. Humans technically were bosses of everybody, but according to Dracos, in order to deal with them, you have to treat them like the boss, but technically they work with you. You have to incept them, like you do with any sort of boss, like at an office.
Right.
And the worker case was below humans, but again, good luck telling a 7-foot-tall reptilian to be like, hey, you gotta check out the toilets on level 4. You know what I mean? You're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah. And as far as their names go, his name means keeper of the laws.
Yeah, so he's a real fucking hard ass.
Yeah, real hard ass. His name, because the reptilian names include the position they hold and several personally chosen letters, and each letter has a very personal meaning known only to the alien and the one that chose their name.
I chose the letter Sklar because it means the blood of the vanquished, and I also chose the letter Sklish because it means tacos.
Ooh.
My favorite convenient meal.
Tacos are unbelievable.
Yeah. Intergalactic. Mm-hmm. So since his name means keeper of the laws, his name includes Khash, which means memory or keep. It's the base word for Akashic record,
which was the Sumerian tomes that we found that were the first ones to illuminate us about the Anunnaki.
Cuneiform. And it also has Fasht, which means law. It's also the base word for fast or bind. And then those are the secret letters. We don't know what those mean.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. I think they mean, watch me on Steven Seagal's Lawman. I'm Steven Seagal, keeper of law.
Now, here's what Thomas Costello had to say about his dealings with...
I usually called him Karsh, and he hated it. The draconian leaders were very formal when talking to the human race. These ancient beings consider us a lower race. Karsh called me Leader Costello, but it was used in a sarcastical way.
Leader Costello!
God, just constant Klingon. It's just having to deal with Klingons all day long. However, the worker case is friendly enough as long as you allow them to speak first.
Yeah.
We should also talk about the lunchroom situation, or we'll talk about that at where are you?
Yeah. So, as senior technician, Costello had to communicate with the Dracos on a daily basis to essentially mediate disputes. When human workers caused problems for or with the working case, the reptoids went to the white draconian boss, quote unquote, and the Draco then called Costello, who had to come in and mediate any sort of disputes that they had.
God, HR is such a pain in the ass. And also, what a bunch of red tape that you have to go through. All this alien horseshit. They're supposed to be psychic creatures that are far more evolved than us. Why is there still a hierarchy?
Yeah, and personal disputes.
But also what he would say, which is kind of that fun thing, is that they'd have closed off areas where they were like, this is a no human zone. Mm-hmm. This is where the Dracos hang out. You don't go over there. You don't hang out with them. Because the problem is that a lot of his dealings were being like, he'd have to go and ask them like, will you please release Miguel? Like literally, like it would be them with an energy weapon at like a janitor who's just like, why are men in costume? They have tuning fork and they turn my penis into dust.
It sounds like an episode of Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell.
Yes.
Yeah,
much.
kind of. And you
We will release the Mexican upon the givel of some fresh, sweet, perfect carnitas tacos.
Yeah, maybe a little pumpernickel.
Yes, tacos, yes.
Taco night shall be twice a month.
Holy shit! Twice a month taco night.
To be held on non-consecutive Tuesdays.
And if it's missed by a Tuesday because of either a national holiday or some sort of schedule snafu, we will immediately reschedule said taco night.
Following Tuesday, we're never gonna miss the tacos. That's great.
So you ask, how did how did he communicate with all these species? How did all these species communicate with each other? Well, there was a common language spoken at Dulce. It was called Aishu. And Costello had to learn it very quickly upon entering the base.
Doesn't sound like a guy who's going to pick up languages too quick.
He was also fluent in Spanish, I'll have you know.
Isn't that something?
And all the signs were in Aishu. There was only one sign. This is very interesting. Only one sign in English, which was over the tube shuttle station, and that sign said, to Los Alamos, which that implies that only humans were allowed to go to Los Alamos, because Los Alamos, that's the legit cover.
I've been to Los Alamos. I didn't see one human there. Bunch of lunatics.
Yeah, it's a weird place.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and the other race, we haven't really talked about these guys a whole lot. The other race that inhabits Dulce full time are the very well-known species that we refer to as the Greys. They're essentially on the same level as the working caste of the Dracos, except they work as a hive mind rather than individual
Because
commands.
what do we know about Greys? They are bio machines.
Yeah.
They are full machines that were made by the tall whites, and so their bosses are fucking operating them for a remote. Mostly because I don't think they want to hang out with reptilians.
Oh yes, I think that's probably true.
Well, they are controlled by remote, but they all do actually have some sort of independent thought.
Yeah.
Think Blade Runner.
All I do is think Blade Runner.
Oh my God, Sean Young.
Yes,
Should have
but
been
it's like-
Catwoman.
but you can approach the Greys, but you have to. They will not approach them on their own. They're very cautious, and they consider most humans to be hostile, and always seem surprised when they find many of the humans were open and trustworthy.
Yeah, which is strange because they have abducted us and shoved things up many of our asses many of time. They think we're hostile?
Yeah, fuck you. You take my cums? If you're going to take my cums, you better blow me. That's what I say. I want to like it. But I guess the thing is that just nobody wants to talk about it. It's like that sort of like, pseudo-sexual assault thing where it's like if somebody likes it a little bit, it makes you feel super fucked up about it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think sometimes these like semen like extraction things make you just fucking shoot loads for genuines.
I mean,
I'm sure the reptilians, or the Greys, they probably thought people were loving it.
I don't know. Have you guys ever shot so hard that it kind of hurts a little bit?
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And so you just guys going, yeah. It's
Usually involves a prostate milking. It's just you just shoot so fucking hard that you feel like your fucking muscles going, give me more, give me more.
I've never
And you
had
don't
my
have any more.
I've never had my inside grapes like fondled. I've never had that.
I don't. I would. Yeah, milk and almond.
You got
Have some almond milk.
So reptilians and Greys have a natural hatred of each other.
Yeah. It's an uneasy alliance.
Yes, because they're both there trying to scam us. That's the idea, is that we think we're getting everything that we want out of this deal because the Greys are giving us all this the Greys and the reptilians are giving us all this
Yeah,
technology.
we get Wi-Fi. We get fucking rocket engines.
It also fucks with our political systems. That's another part of exopolitics that's very interesting. It gives the importance of the military, because the military are the ones talking to these advanced people. So they get to go to the president and be like, we're bigger than you now because we're talking to these reptilians. We have this saucer technology. We're the ones who are like with the fucking people that are going to come and take over. We're going to gladly supplant your government if we want to. And so the power balance is all off. So the military get whatever they want.
Yeah. So the layout of Dulce, it's a 7-layered facility. The first level starts 200 feet down. Each level has a ceiling of about 7 feet, except level 6 and 7, where the ceiling there is 45 to 60 feet. So this is a huge facility, and it's laid out just like the Pentagon in Washington, D.C.
Yes, because it's a giant. It has a central hub with spokes or corridors radiating away from the center. Oh, God.
What happened to you, Henry? You talk about aliens for 50 minutes and you just become the former you.
Oh, God.
Henry in high school, everyone.
So much flax this morning.
Oh, my.
There are no conventional electronic controls at Dulce. This is a thing, too. The aliens are obsessed with magnets.
Yeah.
And so everything works magnetically. There are no pulleys or cables in these elevators. They all go... They go down with just weirdly silently. The other thing too is that the elevators you can't take an elevator from 1 to 7.
No.
You have to take a separate elevator for each floor.
Yeah.
Which is a pain in the fucking ass.
That is a pain in the ass.
Jesus Christ. Well, there are also security clearances at every floor. Let's go through the floors
Let's do
now.
it.
Let's start at level 1. Level 1, maintenance and government offices.
The boring level.
The boring level. That's where they take care of the garbage. And you might be thinking, in Castello, he also kind of anticipated this question. You might be thinking, huge facility, 18,000 Greys are said to be living at this facility. Fucking garbage, man. Where does all the garbage go?
Yeah, and they're littering. They're
litter bugs. They don't care at all about us.
So the garbage is reformed or melted down and then remade, and some of the wet garbage is eaten by bacterial life forms, and what's left is vaporized in a vat-like chamber, and the residue of that action is used in a complex lye and used to fertilize crops in their hydroponic gardens.
I'm not going to lie to you, as Costello, I got a little bit bored, and I did eat some wet garbage. I
had some wet garbage, and I think it's kind of fun. I think it's kind of nice. You know what? It's a nice break from the dry garbage.
It wasn't bad.
But you know what wet garbage means, right? That means leftover human parts, dead, mutilated, genetically altered fetuses, and the mouth and asshole flesh of cows and humans that were found mutilated and gutted all around Dulce and in the neighboring towns.
Like a Planned Parenthood dumpster.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, we'll get to the animal mutilations on the next episode when people start seeing, hey, maybe there's something up here. Maybe there's something wrong with the Dulce base.
That's weird, though.
Let's continue on the levels. Second level, that's the garage for trains, shuttles, tunnel boring machines, UFO maintenance, and government offices.
So if this was a movie, this is where Chris Christopherson would work.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. And Jay Leno's like, can I have my car?
Yeah.
Can I have my car?
Hey, how am I doing? And then you also have, technically that's Ed Koch. But this is the Fast and Furious. But you know how they always have like a gigantic warehouse filled with cars and shit? That's where they are.
Yeah.
So there's a little Mexican man in there being like, so you want me to take this off, sir? You want me to put the Virgin Mary on it or something?
Ooh, maybe Paul Walker's there right now.
Oh, shit.
He ain't dead.
That's
he
where he
ain't dead.
I've seen the body, Ben.
Okay.
Yeah, these aliens know how to interdimensional travel, but do they know how to Tokyo drift? Yeah, Paul. Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I guess I serve no purpose here.
Yep. Do they know how to Wisconsin stop? That's where you just stop at a Culver's.
So after the second level, Costello said that everyone, once you try to go from the second level to the third level, everyone is weighed in the nude and then given a uniform. Visitors are given off-white uniforms, jumpsuits with a zipper, and the weight of the person is put on a computer ID card every day, and any change in weight is noted, and if it's over 3 pounds, a physical exam and x-ray is required.
You're getting fat, Thomas. I can't help but notice that you will be perfect for what you call your Thanksgiving ceremony. Seriously, come by my office later. I have some apples and some spices I want to put in your bowls.
Yeah, that's kind of fun to get it all stuffed. Treat it like everyone's
I just
like,
gotta say, I don't really appreciate the body shaming I'm getting here from these reptilians. There's your talk.
that's okay. People talk about the turkey, Thanksgiving dinner. They're the star. The turkey is the star. So
So
that's fine.
you might be asking, So there's a lot of stuff to go from second level to third level. What's on the third level? Government offices.
The admins.
Okay.
That's where the temps go.
Wow, a lot of government offices here.
Oh, there's a lot of red tape.
Yeah.
A lot of red tape. 1 through 3.
Huh.
Government offices.
All right.
4 is where it gets a little freaky. 4 is where the human aura research is done, as well as aspects of dream manipulation, hypnosis, and telepathy. In these labs, they can lower a person's heartbeat with delta waves and introduce data and program reaction into a person's mind for those implanted with brain chips. Most people are already implanted with brain chips. They just don't know it yet. This is sort of Manchurian Candidate, MK Ultra type of research.
RFID, mark of the beast kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want my brain chip to taste like honey barbecue.
Oh, yeah, and they could just flood your mouth with honey barbecue flavor every once in a while.
I don't even mind the mind control as much because I just.
Ben, I don't like it when they flood your mouth with flavor because then your lips turn brown.
So Costello, he said that not only are they doing studies here, they also know how to separate the bioplasmic body from the physical body to place an alien entity life force matrix within a human body after removing the quote-unquote soul of
which
the
is
human.
which is what we talk about when we talk about reptilian puppets, right? Is that Barack Obama visited the Dolce base and was replaced, right? And that's a part of their process and a lot of paperwork. I'm sure there's a lot of reptilian
paperwork. Oh my God.
That's why they have 3 floors of government offices.
Yeah.
So much paperwork.
Yep.
They're also on level 4 specially made rooms or cells, if you want to call them that. But first built with lead, then magnetic steel, then clad in copper. It is in these cells on the fourth level that contain the living oral essence that they rip from the bodies of astral travelers.
But also it's the ports for people who are astral traveling into Dolce to get in, which is a thing that I don't really understand for a super, super secret base. There's a lot of ways to get in there.
Well, there's a lot of people working there.
You got to have room for the folks to enter, Henry.
Guess that's true. I forgot about the logistics.
Yeah, remember
you ever been to the Mall of America parking lot?
Oh,
so many ways in there.
Take a picture of your car. You got to want to take a picture of the section number as well.
Remember that fire at that Whitesnake concert?
I always
one exit.
Oh yeah,
man. Rest in peace. Yeah, they made their.
Well, that's not Whitesnake.
That was Whitesnake, I believe.
No, it was Quiet.
No, not Quiet Riot, which makes no sense.
Is it Whitesnake?
We got to get to the bottom of this.
Go. Great White.
Great White.
Great White.
There was a Great White concert. Everybody, because they made all the soundproofing out of like oil.
I just really wish they didn't call it the Human Barbecue Tour.
No, I mean that was just too accurate.
It killed an even 100 people.
Isn't that something? There?
I'm sorry about that.
Victims, yeah. Right.
Well, the other thing about yes, there are people that are going, of course, just going in there as employees, but these astral travelers, that is somewhat of a, not necessarily well known, but it is a practice among people who do astral travel. They astral travel to places all over the world, and they astral travel inside of these facilities so they can get an idea of what's going on. They can see what's happening in there. But level 4, Dulce Air Force Base, one you do not want to astral travel into because they do have the technology to trap your soul in this place and experiment on
like 13 Ghosts.
So the 5th level, this is where the alien races start. 5, 6, 7, almost all aliens on those levels. Alien housing, level 5. So, first of all, there is no fraternizing with aliens off hours at all. It is forbidden for a human to speak to any alien race in the halls or an elevator without a clear business-oriented reason. Humans can talk to humans, aliens can talk to aliens, but humans can't talk to aliens. Aliens can't talk to humans.
You truly don't know if you're going to create an intergalactic war accidentally.
Yeah. You really don't know. So there's free, quote unquote, free speech in the labs. They can talk to each other.
That's what Costello was saying, that they hang out. And then that's where you can kind of get to know some of the Greys and some of the reptilians. They kind of hang out and they kind of like, oh, these humans are not too bad.
I don't know.
Too bad they just make me so viciously hungry.
Yeah, they got it all wrong though. You should be able to talk in the halls. You work in the labs.
Yeah.
They're talking during work hours.
Yeah, you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So Henry mentioned being hungry. You got to also ask yourself, okay, yes, these people live together. Do they eat together?
This is really where you make bonding relationships with friends and family over food.
Because that's the thing, is that the family not sharing meals together anymore in the nighttime is a part of why these gays are getting married.
Well,
and
I
it's
don't
why
know.
dogs are going to be presidents soon.
That is possible, and I would love that, a good Pomeranian president. But look at the Italian family unit, very strong. What do? They get morbidly obese together.
So the reptilians' eating habits, they eat very frequently, and they usually carry or send for food on their breaks. They're very secretive. The reptilians eat separately from everybody
They
else.
don't want people to know what they eat.
Yeah.
Especially the higher ups. They're very, I don't know what it is. And they'll make jokes about what it is that they eat.
Yeah.
But then they're like, but what do you really eat? You know, just like, because what was the thing about the flock of geese?
there's a whole legend surrounding the Dracos that they like to tell this legend. It's like, my ancestors have eaten flocks of geese in one sitting. Ha 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 ha.
Would you say that there's bones in the chocolate?
Bones! There's bones in the chocolate!
Oh my god! Wow.
So it is. They enjoy the same foods that we do. Reptilians enjoy the same foods that we do, and they have been seen secretly munching on freshly found snail.
How did the snail get down to section? What is this? 5, 6?
Section 5.
Yeah, that's my problems. Yeah, why is just things being around? How did wildlife get in there?
Well, it may have come up from Section 5.
Oh, absolutely, and they're
Yeah.
just being into like
Or section 6.
Crash tar, please, for the love of God, leave. These are live specimens and stuff. He's just like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was an hors d'oeuvre plate.
And the Greys, they have their own little eating habits as well. They eat a clear mixture with the texture of pureed peaches, and they make every attempt to not, quote unquote, eat around the humans because the odor of it is very unpleasant to every human who comes into contact with it.
yeah, it smells like hot garbage.
Ooh, I love hot
Yeah.
garbage.
They spend days, even weeks between feedings. And the worker caste of the reptilians, they eat meat, insects, a large variety of plants, including vegetables and fruit. So pretty much humans, except for the insects. They go a little bit far.
They
with
eat
that.
a lot of
people.
They eat people, yeah.
Yeah, they sometimes eat people. Yes.
Which is a problem, which is why you're not supposed to go into where they live all the time because they will take you and they'll eat you.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know.
And they like their meat raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although they have been known to enjoy some cooked meat on occasion, but only rare.
Put it in the microwave.
And there's security officers there. They wear jumpsuits with the Dolce symbol on the front upper left side. The standard hand weapon at Dolce is a flash gun, which is good against humans and aliens. The standard ID card, which is used in card slots for the doors and elevators, has the Dolce symbol above the ID photo. And by the way, they are issued new key cards every single day
That's
to
how
reflect
you can
their weight.
Exactly, to also keep you from keeping any sort of evidence whatsoever that you work
Yeah.
at the Dolce base.
Yeah. And quote unquote government honcho.
According to Thomas Costello,
According
who's
to-
being a real fucking,
Well,
John Lennon about it.
Actually,
you know?
this isn't from Thomas Costello. This is from that website that I found that was all green text on a
Oh,
black
yes.
background that
Yes.
hurt my eyes real bad.
hurt my eyes. I tried to watch it. I was reading through it last night, and I was just like, it looks like the letters are dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, government honchos use cards with the Great Seal of the U.S. on it, the cult of the all-seeing eye, the New World Order, 13, 666, the Phoenix Empire, 9, Illuminism, 1 out of many. Back to Thomas Costello. When asked if he noticed any Freemasons, Rosicrucians, or Jesuits around fraternizing with the aliens, he said,
Yes, I did. But that is a loaded question, and I won't comment further.
Oh, wow. He's not going to talk.
Oh, because then it jumps off into what we did not include in this is jumped off into how there is a 33rd plus level of masonry, which may be all reptilians.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you thought about me if you used your intelligence to, like, build the highway system?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I'd
okay.
much prefer to do with fake things. I prefer to use my brain for aliens.
Our country's infrastructure is crumbling, and
It
we
is
need
crumbling.
all the help that we can get. So
They won't let me anywhere near a jackhammer.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
So the 6th level, that's officially called the Vivarium.
Ooh, that's where I want to be.
Oh, no, it
It's
is not. Level 6 is privately called the Nightmare Hall.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where I live now.
That contains all the aforementioned genetic labs.
Also, Nightmare Hall sounds like a preteen horror series.
Yeah, Nightmare Hall.
This is where the crossbreeding experiments of humans and animals are done on fish, seals, birds, and mice that are vastly altered from their original forms, as well as humans. Remember, the winged humanoids, the grotesque bat-like creatures, anywhere from 3.5 to 7 feet tall.
And they're
the
all-
gargoyles. Remember these. This is what goes on in the Nightmare Hall, and that is where Jolly Roger and King Mop found the lesbian wing of the Invisibles with tentacles, saying, "I'm fine, Jolly. Kill me." And Jolly couldn't do it, so King Mob had to do it. And then they took out their anger on Mr. Quimper.
Yeah, but Mr. Quimper, yeah, I mean...
It does sound badass. I want to see it. But and the thing about all of these things, they're all screaming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
all the time.
It's just them going like, I shouldn't be saying stuff like this. I'm cool. Yeah, no, and then also in the world of Nightmare Hall, it's just being like, do you think Becky likes me even though my dick's a parrot?
all the boys' dicks are parrots, and every day a girl gets her period for the first time.
Yeah.
But we have
the
a
period
large...
comes to life.
Of course, yeah. That's probably food for the Greys there.
Don't eat me.
That's like pasta marinara sauce for him. Well, we have a large LGBTQ community. I just want to ask, why are the lesbians in Nightmare Hall?
Because they were the ones that tried to go into the Dulce facility to retrieve the AIDS vaccine, Ben.
Oh, so they're heroes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
They were
very
heroes
good.
that went into
Okay.
and
They're
Jolly
not
Roger,
monsters.
And Jolly Roger was the only one that was able to escape. So she went to King Mob's invisible cell because she trained with King Mob. And so they went back in.
I just gotta read it.
Yeah.
I gotta read
all the sense. I got it.
Yeah. You gotta read it. So yes, okay, these people at the facility, these humans, of course, the Greys don't give a fuck. The Dracos don't give a fuck. But what about the humans? All these people that were working in the genetic labs, including Thomas Costello, they said people who worked at the facility were told that, quote, the subjects being used for genetic experiments were hopelessly insane, and the research is for medical and humane purposes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So they
sure.
watched a bunch of screaming people, and they were just told, like, basically Thomas Costello being like, no, don't worry. They're just retarded, and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, okay, cool. Oh, so we're doing what with them? We're giving them seal feet, and we're giving them chicken arms and stuff like that. Cool. Woo!
That's great.
Hell yeah.
You turn that chicken person into a stick form, and I think that's a chicken fry, and I'm going to buy it.
Thank you,
I
guys.
love a chicken fry.
Oh, that is one of the great discoveries of the Dulce base was the chicken fry and the chicken ring from White Castle.
Yeah, and imitation crab.
That's the only one I can afford.
I hate all the sharp stuff of the other normal dumb crab, real crab.
get rid of it.
I like my crab to come in a pressed tube.
Yeah, imitation crab doesn't get enough credit for what a great actor it is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like the Johnny Depp of all the foods.
So in the 7th...
It's not a real crab. It's an imitation crab.
Johnny Depp isn't even very good in his big character parts anymore.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp is a great actor. Do you
Was.
ever see Fear and Loathing? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
That was probably the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Robert Downey Jr. Imitation crab is the Robert Downey Jr. of meats.
I
had
would
a
say
comeback.
he's the Michael Shannon. It's the Michael Shannon of meats. in
I don't
terms
know
of
if
my
he's
favorite actor.
I don't know if he's good as
But
Michael
this isn't
Shannon.
a podcast about acting. So
on the 7th and quote unquote final level,
Quote unquote, quote unquote.
the 7th level holds row after row of thousands of humans in cold storage, including children. Witnesses have described huge vats of amber liquid with parts of human bodies being stirred inside to be used as food or fodder for grotesque experiments.
And Thomas Costello also with the Dulce papers. So all this came from a thing called the Dulce papers, was a series of like diagrams that he had stolen and copied and written and had sent to various members of the press and different schools of thought.
And they
stuff
all
like that.
paid attention attention.
Way big time. He also had 2 videos that I can't seem to find anywhere that are supposedly like he shows the genetic vats. There's a little bit of a clip of one of them, and the vats are these big, they look like, again, it looks like a sci-fi movie. It's like a big black orb that they're sitting in, which again, I feel like make it look more clinical.
Yeah.
Sounds like a hot
Why
tub.
make it look evil?
It is evil.
Yeah, but make it look clinical. That's how something's really evil.
Yeah, but how do we know that the reason why we think of these things as evil is because these vats have been a part of humankind for thousands upon thousands of years, and it is a part of the collective human unconsciousness.
Yes.
I think we just had like clay stuff thousands of years ago. Tough to get advanced, but.
So you ask, who are these people in these cages? Well, the most common prisoners were petite women in their early 20s or early 30s, not much in between. Dark-haired boys between 5 and 9.
Don't like the way you smiled when you said it.
No.
I didn't smile when I said boys.
Yes, you
just
did.
did.
Yeah, you can actually hear the smile. Kind of weird there.
And small to medium-sized men in their mid-20s to mid-40s.
So just pretty much everybody.
No.
Under 40.
What about large men? What about men
large
in their
women.
tens? What about kids from 9 to 22? They're not in there. Now you ask why? Why is it so specific? Well, the boys are favored.
You sound like the guy from, what is it, the Family Guy character? The molester?
So the boys are favored because at that age, their bodies are rapidly growing and their atomic material is adaptable in the transfer chamber. Because remember that a lot of their experiments here also have to do with atomic and nuclear power.
Leader Costello, get this one away from me. It has pubic hair.
I just have a whistle. I can't do much. He's not listening to my whistle. I don't know.
I really just need to get out of here. I wish someone could come please and just let me out of here.
The young small women are frequently very fertile. The men are used for their sperm.
Yeah, hell yeah, sign me up. You want some strong
They
swimmers there.
You're not in the.
But Costello, he said that he had no idea why they preferred small to average sized men. I think it's a space issue.
I think so too, of course.
Yeah, because you can fit, 2 Henrys for every one Ben.
That's right. Well, that's sad, yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying he's a lot shorter than you are.
He's shorter, yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So basically what we found out is that this is...
and also, for some reason, all of them speak English. That's it. That's the only unifying factor is that they all speak English.
Well, isn't that it? It's about time we got some American things going on around here.
And so this is what Costello said once he found out this information. It's because it's more like so it's just people hanging out, right? And they're what are they doing inside of these cages?
Yeah, this is what he said he was told about this, and this is what he said was his attitude about it for the longest time.
I knew that this was not the usual hospital type job site. But in the beginning, I bought the whole package. I was reminded daily by intercom in the elevators that this site does high-risk advanced medical and drug testing to cure insanity. Please never speak to the inmates. It can destroy years of work. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm sensible. When doctors say don't speak to them, who was I to destroy the delicate situation?
I agree with Costello.
But destroy it he did, which will be covered in part 2, The Dolce War.
Costello! Wow. I just want to say, if you are suffering from HIV/AIDS, remember, go lick Magic Johnson.
Again, it is easy to do. He'll do it, but it does cost money.
Wow,
so
what an episode, guys. Very interesting stuff.
Very interesting stuff.
And so now the next week's episode is really going to cover a very interesting story, if nebulous, in terms of sources and the exact timelines.
Yes.
But we're going to cover the Dolce Wars and a man named Phil Schneider, who is one of my favorite figures in UFO, UFO truth thought.
Yeah. He's missing the fingers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And just so you know that there are no less than 5 separate events that managed to converge together in 1978 that resulted in the Dolce Wars.
What are the Dolce Wars, Marcus? Can you even begin to? I don't know.
Shut up.
Yep.
All right. Very interesting. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Let's do the Twitter thing. You can find Henry on Twitter at Henry Loves You. Marcus Parks is at Marcus Parks. And I'm at Ben Kissel. And, of course, follow LP on the left.
At LP on the left. And if you want your Last Podcast on the Left t-shirt, you can either get the logo one or the heart one. Remember, the heart t-shirt is limited edition. We only have a few left, so if you haven't gotten yours yet and you really want to get one, remember that these are a one-time deal. Go to cavecomedyradio.com/merch to buy yourself a t-shirt.
And always take a picture of yourself in that shirt. I love seeing people. It's so awesome. It's great, especially in an inappropriate situation.
Yes. And I want to say how unbelievably amazing it's been. We've never asked anybody to get a tattoo, but I'll tell you that the man who got the tattoo on his calf, the back of his calf, it's an amazing tattoo. It's beautiful. Yeah. So what a compliment. What an honor. It's awesome, dude. Thanks.
And also thank you to that guy from my roommate and long time friend, Colin Morse, who created that character, Mr. Big Fat Scary.
Oh,
he says thank you as well for putting his art on your fucking body.
So badass.
Yeah, and also be sure to go to rate and review us on iTunes. 5 stars, please.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Do not be one of those people that listens to the entire episode and then gives us 2 stars or 1 because that's a fucking weird thing to do with your life.
Yeah, to hate
remember
something?
that.
Democracy.
Remember that it's a very weird thing. If you're doing that, it's a very weird thing to do with your life. You should possibly take a walk and think about why.
Think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
For a hot second.
Take a walk.
All right. Well, we love to entertain. And thank you guys so much for listening to all the other programs that Marcus and I do, Top Hat and Roundtable and Page 7 and Sex and Other Human Activities. Mm-hmm. You know, everything is going so great here. And Marcus, everything you touch turns to gold.
Let's say
radio gold.
Let's say gold-plated tungsten, like that underneath Manhattan.
There it is.
To the tip of the spear. It's all gone, Ben. The Germans want it back. We don't have it. What's gonna happen?
The Germans don't got shit on our drones. We're set. Hail, sweet Satan. Again, thank you for his gifts.
How's Heroes going, Henry?
Heroes is going. It's very interesting. I think people are gonna like it.
The previews or trailers have been really incredible.
Yeah, really fucking cool. Like,
Super
I love
dark.
you say, what is that?
What's that?
Yeah. I want to know what that is.
You'll see.
Good.
Let's see. And also watch Your Pretty Faces Going to Hell 12:15.
Loving this season,
Sundays.
by the way. I've been keeping up with it. It's fucking awesome.
I love it. I'm really excited about how it came out and the support. I've been getting people tweeting at me about it. I fucking love it. Please like the show.
And I'm doing that Fox News show. I know it doesn't necessarily fit into everything here, but I'm bringing in some information.
Yeah.
Red Eye at 3 o'clock in the morning on August 18th. So check it out.
So would that be like August 18th, like the day after the 17th?
Yes.
Okay, but like 18th, 3 a.m., but like you were awake on the 17th.
Oh, so the 19th.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be the 19th
So
at
it's
3
like-
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Why can't we just get on shows that are airing not in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Because they can't have. Because they're not ready for the fucking truth.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, but
All right.
soon.
All right, thank God. Magustalations, everybody, and hail yourselves.
Hail me.
And Heil Gene.
I don't know.
Don't trust your telephones. They're listening at every single point, and you're already fucked. You're already done.
Nerd alert.
For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to cavecomedyradio.com.